Hola everyone and welcome back to the Pitwall Pod. Today we're diving straight into the heart of the 2025 Mexican Grand Prix, a weekend packed with chaos, controversy, and classic Mexico City energy. From shocking strategy calls to unexpected podium finishes, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez gave us everything: drama, dust, and pure racing adrenaline. So grab your headphones, maybe a taco or two, and let's break down one of the wildest races of the season. Free Practice 1. Welcome back, race fans. The 2025 Mexican Grand Prix is officially underway, and Free Practice 1 did not disappoint. Charles Leclerc set the early benchmark, clocking a 118.380 in the Ferrari SF25, narrowly beating Kimi Antonelli by just a tenth of a second. Nico Hulkenberg completed the top three, with championship leader Oscar Piastri right behind in fourth. The session was also notable for a heavy rookie presence. Nine up and coming drivers took part, showing just how hungry the next generation of talent is. Stand-ins like Arvid Lindenblatt in the Red Bull impressed, finishing sixth, just 6 tenths of Leclerc's pace, while Paul Aaron and others seized the opportunity to shine. The track itself was a challenge early on, with dust and changing conditions keeping teams on their toes. Esteban Ocon initially set the pace, but as the session progressed, lap times dropped rapidly. Piastri was the first under 120, while Leclerc ultimately reclaimed the top spot with a 118.380, proving Ferrari is ready to contend for the weekend. From Alonso to Hadjar and even Pato O'Ward showing strong pace in the McLaren. FP1 was a mix of experience and emerging talent, giving us plenty to talk about before free practice 2. Stay tuned because if FP1 is anything to go by, Mexico City is shaping up for a weekend of edge of your seat action. Free practice 2. Friday in Mexico City wrapped up with free practice 2, and it was Max Verstappen who set the pace, ending the day on top with a 117.392 in the Red Bull. Charles Leclerc and Kimi Antonelli weren't far behind, showing that the battle for the podium this weekend is already shaping up to be intense. The session started with all 20 drivers back on track in warm, dry conditions. Leclerc initially held the fastest time, with Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton running close behind. But Verstappen proved why he's the reigning world champion, edging past the Monegasque by just a tenth of a second on his soft tires. It wasn't all smooth sailing. Antonelli had a tricky start with car issues, George Russell had an early off-track moment, and Alex Albon tapped the wall in turn 16. Verstappen himself reported some mid-session struggles with grip on the medium tires, but returned to soft to secure P1 and complete a race simulation. Other notable performances including Norris and Hamilton climbing to fourth and fifth, while Piastri struggled a bit, finishing P12, and Tsunoda and Russell showing competitive pace in the top 10. As FP2 ended, teams headed back to the paddock to analyze the data, weak setups, and prepare for FP3 in qualifying the next day, which promised to be just as thrilling. If Friday was any indication, the 2025 Mexico Grand Prix is set for high-speed drama and tight battles across the grid. Free Practice 3, Saturday morning in Mexico City, saw Free Practice 3 deliver plenty of excitement as Lando Norris topped his timesheet with a blistering 116.633, more than 3 tenths ahead of Lewis Hamilton. George Russell completed the top three, with Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen not far behind. The session began with Verstappen heading straight into a race simulation on mediums, while the rest of the field gradually joined him. Hamilton pushed hard, flirting with the track limits at turn 1 and turn 4, and Carlos Sainz initially led the way on soft tires. Traffic and tricky conditions meant drivers had to fight for clear laps, with several incidents including Albon's lockups and Antonelli running over curbs, adding spice to the morning. Norris steadily climbed the leaderboard, eventually unleashing a 1.16 to claim P1, leaving his title rivals P5 and P6. Verstappen struggled with grip both front and rear, while Piastri found himself 6 tenths off his McLaren teammate's pace. The top 10 was tightly packed with Hadjar, Tsunoda and Bortoleto rounding out the fastest runners. With FP3 complete, teams now turn their full attention to qualifying, where every millisecond will count in the hunt for pole at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. If FP3 isn't any indication, fans can expect an electrifying showdown between Norris, Hamilton, Leclerc, and Verstappen later today. Qualifying. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez witnessed an electrifying qualifying session for the 2025 Mexico Grand Prix, with Lando Norris taking a commanding pole position for McLaren. The Briton delivered a sensational lap of 1:15.586, outpacing Charles Leclerc by 0.2 of a second, while Lewis Hamilton rounded out the top three for Ferrari. After topping FP3, Norris looked strong throughout the session, but the fight was fierce. Leclerc grabbed provisional pole early in Q3, Verstappen pushed for top times, and Hamilton consistently threatened dipping below 170s. Oscar Piastri struggled at times, finishing 8th behind his teammates, while George Russell, Max Verstappen, Kimi Antonelli, and Carlos Sainz filled out a competitive top 6. The session had plenty of drama across all segments. In Q1, Isaac Hadjar surprised everyone by topping the times, while several drivers including Tsunoda, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Alonso, and Lawson failed to progress to Q2. Q2 saw Norris consolidate his pace, setting the fastest time and keeping Piastri just inside the top 10. By Q3, it was a tense shootout. Verstappen went first. Leclerc initially went quicker, but Norris' final lap proved decisive, delivering his first pole in quite some time. Afterwards, Norris reflected, "I'm happy to be back on pole. It's actually been quite a long time. I got a little nervous before I was in Q3 at the end, but I pulled it out when it mattered." With Norris on pole ahead of Leclerc and Hamilton, the stage is set for an action-packed Mexico City Grand Prix, promising intense battles at the front and high stakes for the championship contenders. Race. What a spectacular finish to the 2025 Mexican Grand Prix. Lando Norris converted his pole position into a commanding lights-to-flag victory, crossing the line with an astonishing 30-second margin on his rivals and taking over the Drivers' Championship lead by a single point. The start was electric, with 4 cars jostling for P1 into turn 1. Norris made a clean getaway, while Verstappen and the Ferraris had to navigate a chaotic first corner. Leclerc briefly emerged ahead, but also after some corner-cutting adjustments and Stewart's notes, Norris was firmly back in front. From there, the McLaren drivers steadily built an unassailable lead, demonstrating supreme control and composure. Behind him, a thrilling battle unfolded for the remaining podium positions. Charles Leclerc held on for P2, narrowly fending off for Max Verstappen by just 7 tenths of a second. The race also saw Oliver Bowman score a career-best P4 for Haas, fending off McLaren's Oscar Piastri, who finished 5th and saw his championship lead slip away to his teammates. Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli and George Russell claimed 6th and 7th, with Lewis Hamilton finishing 8th after serving a 10-second penalty for gaining an advantage by leaving the track. Points were rounded out by Esteban Ocon in 9th and Gabriel Bortoleto in 10th. Meanwhile, retirements plagued several drivers, including Liam Lawson, Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz, who stopped in the stadium section late in the race. Pit strategies played a crucial role, particularly in the midfield battles. Norris' team executed flawlessly, allowing Piastri to return ahead of Mercedes Antonelli during a key stop, while Behrman and Russell's duel added more drama to the mid-pack. Verstappen applied pressure on Leclerc late in the race, but the Ferrari held him firm for P2 as a virtual safety car neutralized the final laps. Reflecting on his win, Norris said, "What a race! I could just keep my eyes focused, keep my focus forward, and do my job. A pretty straightforward race for me, which is exactly what I was after. Good start, good launch, good first lap, and I could go from there." With this dominant performances, Norris not only extends his momentum but now holds the championship lead by a single point over teammate Piastri, setting up an electrifying run to the end of the 2025 season. Mexico City will be remembered as a weekend of precision, pace, and pure racing excellence. Drivers' Championship Top 5: 1. Lando Norris with 357 points. 2. Oscar Piastri with 356 points. 3. Max Verstappen with 321 points. 4. George Russell with 258 points. And 5th, Charles Leclerc with 210 points. Constructors' Championship: McLaren 713 points, Ferrari 356 points, Mercedes 355 points, Red Bull 346 points, and Williams 111 points. And that wrapped up an unforgettable weekend at the 2025 Mexico City Grand Prix, where Lando Norris stormed to victory from pole position, seized the championship lead, and gave fans plenty of thrilling on-track action, with drama, strategy, and standout performances across the board. This weekend has set the stage for an electrifying final stretch of the season. Next up, F1 Circus heads south to Interlagos for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, taking place over the weekend of November 7 to 9. Expect high-speed battles, unpredictable weather, and championship tension as the title fight continues to heat up. Make sure to stay tuned because the race for glory isn't over yet.